Will former President Donald Trump be able to vote? Right? So we know that on Thursday, May the 30th, that 2024, former President Donald Trump was found guilty in the hush money scandal, the hush money trial involving Stormy Daniels. We know that he was found guilty on 34, all 34 felony counts. Well, so people are asking now and wondering, will Donald Trump be able to vote? So let's look at it. So in the United States, you got some states where you will be able to vote even if you have a felony. Some states you have to wait till you get off of probation or parole. Some states it don't matter if you're on probation or if you're on parole. Once you're released, you can vote. Some states are very lenient and they allow you to vote, regardless of the circumstances. So let's just look at it real quick, right? So we know what the situation is. Donald Trump got 34 felony counts that he's been found guilty of, and I'm sure that he'll appeal and things of that nature. Me personally, I don't think Donald Trump is going to spend time at all. I don't think he's going to do a day in jail, period. And the reason why I think that is because, well, he don't really have a criminal record and things like that. You see a lot of people that on the first offense, second offense, get probation, right? Well, I don't even think Donald Trump is going to get probation. I think he'll receive a suspended sentence where they might sentence him to a year and that year will be suspended. That's just what I think. Now, is it fair? No, it probably not. It's probably not fair because the average person wouldn't be able to get a deal like that. But that's just kind of what I'm thinking might happen. So let's look at these states, right? So nine states, nine states, a person may lose their vote permanently, right? Alabama, Arizona, Delaware, could be Florida. But see, these things, it depends on circumstances. So Florida, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Wyoming, right? Maryland and Missouri may permanently disenfranchise voters convicted of certain election crimes, but we've categorized the states according to the policy for the most people. And this information is coming from procon.org, okay? Procon.org. Okay. So now let's look at if you reside in Washington, D.C., Maine, or Vermont, Washington, D.C., Maine, or Vermont, then it's totally unrestricted. You can literally vote from prison. In Washington, D.C., Maine, or Vermont, you can literally vote from prison. So now let's look at former President Trump, right? We know that he was a long-time resident of New York. So let's look at the New York law. He was a long-time resident of New York. Well, on May the 4th of 2021, Governor Cuomo signed a bill into law that automatically restores voting rights upon release from prison, even if the person is on parole. Okay? So if Trump was still a resident of New York, then he could vote even being on parole. And I assume that that would mean probation as well, right? So now let's look at Florida because President Trump is a resident of Florida, and that's where he's a registered voter in the state of Florida, right? So let's look at Florida. Well, in Florida, this Trump's primary residence was in New York for most of his life, but he moved his residency to Florida in 2019. So that's where he would seek to vote this fall. Trump can still become president. Okay. Now, as crazy as it sounds, Trump can still become president um, as a convicted felon. He can still become president, and it's still likely that he will be able to vote. So let's look at what Florida's voting laws are. On November the 6th, 2018, Florida voters passed Amendment 4, allowing people with prior felony convictions other than murder and sex offenders to automatically regain their ability to vote once they have served their terms of incarceration and completed all parole and probation. Okay? So in Florida, you got to serve your time, then you got to complete your terms of probation and parole. But I think that I don't even think he's gonna get a probation sentence. I think he's gonna get a suspended sentence. Um, I don't think he's gonna get anything that involves parole. You know what I'm saying? And should it happen that way? No, I don't really think so. Is it fair? No, probably not. But I think that's kind of what we um, can expect to happen with this case. So yeah, it looks like former President Trump will probably be voting for himself in um, come this fall. But then there are several states, and this is crazy though because there are several states that he would still never be able to vote in, but he's not a resident of those states. Okay, um, the case that Trump should be worried about, the one that could put him in jail, the one that could put him behind bars, is the case in Georgia involving the election scandal. That's the one right there that could put him in jail. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's 6 months or whatever it is they might give him, that's the one that could put him in jail right there. So, hey, Rev Me TV.